right here, we have our GE Connect unit. You want to come look at this to show that it is, in fact, a GE unit right there. Over here, we have our AC Pro X Series unit. Same exact unit. And really what they all are is the Gree Flexx unit, okay? So, I'm just gonna do a few little pros and cons of this unit real quick, because these are gaining popularity. You see we got 3 of them on this roof. You've got the Gree, you've got the AC Pro, you've got GE, you've got MrCool. They're all the same unit. Now, the biggest pro to this system is the price. So, it is a cheap HVAC, it's a cheap heat pump, okay? Now, and honestly, I guess I would say another pro is priced where it's at, it's not a bad product. So it is decently efficient, it's very sturdily built. So, I mean, this thing is heavy, it's not fun to move around, but I'm gonna go into a few little cons to this thing too. So the first con that we're gonna have is, it seems like the manual info on these things is just wrong in some regards. So come over here, you can see we are leaking right here. This is nitrogen. We torqued this thing perfectly to spec, which is, the torque specs on these are lower than most other torque specs, but we do it to spec, by the book, what the manufacturer tells us to, and then when we do that, it leaks. This is the second one in a row that this has happened on, and I mean, that's inconvenient as an installer. Another big con to these is that when you're trying to evacuate this system, you can see that when we're trying to pull this Schrader core out, it is blocked. To get the Schrader core out, we would either have to, we have 2 options. We could unwire everything, just pull all these wire harnesses off and unwire it. Or B, you can pull these screws off right here, pull these off, and pull your Schrader core or your service valve out a little bit to give yourself the clearance to actually remove the Schrader core. That is a big design flaw on this unit. You should not have to do all that to pull a proper vacuum on a system. So there are, I mean, besides that, I don't really have any gripes with the system. It is, like I said, for the price point, especially as a DIYer, this is not a bad, because they sell these, MrCool sells them for DIY. So if you're doing DIY, the price on this, you really can't beat it. But as a HVAC installer, as a HVAC contractor who installs HVAC units like frequently, I don't love installing these. So yeah, I guess that's it. I have no major problems with them besides the things I've listed. They do run quiet. They do, the customers who I've installed them for have said good things about their efficiency. So I just want to kind of make a little bit of a follow-up video on this. Kind of the reason this is not an ideal scenario in my mind. Let's look at it like this. If I send my guys to go install a Gree Flexx unit, then I have to know that they're going to do these things. Now, with the guys I have right now, I don't see that being an issue. It's just not an ideal scenario to have to deal with an install where, in order to get the install to work well long term, we have to do things that are atypical. I don't want to have to micromanage guys that are installing equipment. No HVAC installer wants to be micromanaged. It makes it so if there's things to do with the system that make it not as smooth to install, then it is not really in my best interest to push that equipment. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal as long as you work through those things. I mean, we just torque it a little bit tighter and we deal with pulling out the Schrader core to pull a deep vacuum. I don't think that there's any difference between the Gree, the AC Pro, the GE, or the MrCool. I think they're all the same exact product. If there are differences, someone feel free to correct that in the comments. I've looked up videos. The inner workings of them, as far as I can tell, are identical. I don't think you are getting a different unit depending on which one you buy. I think you're getting the same exact one, and I could be totally wrong on that, but the only one that I've touched the inside of personally is the AC Pro X series. The GE one was on the roof right up there that we were working on, and it looked identical.